Hello and welcome to Privars Fiskeflur. Today we're gonna use this little tool, a Jade River dubbing block. And I'm gonna show you how to use this tool. I don't know what the price on this is. I bought it used. It consists of a groove with that's pinned on to the base like this. This has an extension pin or board, what you might call it. It also has a groove in the middle. It has some screws here for attaching the wire. That I'm not gonna use. It has some pins here and a wheel that you spin on that wind the dubbing brush. This is the tool I'm gonna make the dubbing brush with, and it's gonna look about this, like this. This is a dubbing brush. This is what the dubbing brush is gonna look like, and I'm gonna tie this fly. I'm gonna zoom in and show you. Well, this is the fly I'm gonna tie with this brush, and I use some off-brand hooks to make this, free of choice of course. It's the smallest one of these. It looks like this, like that. It has a big hook gap, and I also use some, can use if you want to make it more solid, some liquid fusion or super glue. That's the hook and tool to make the dubbing brush. This is the dubbing brush with the copper dubbing. I used the hook, and I'm gonna use the thread. It's a Semperfli fluorescent thread. So that's all folks, and follow on with the video. Hello and welcome to Privars Fiskeflur. Tonight we're gonna take and show you this little thing. This is a Jade River dubbing block. I'm gonna show you how to use it, how I like to use it, and make a little dubbing brush out of it, and afterwards make a fly out of that dubbing brush. Okay, I'm gonna start off with telling you a little about this little tool. It consists of a wooden block. It has this little pin, or what you might call it, like a groove in it. You can use that. There's also an extension, little kind of a wooden board, small wooden board with a little hole in it. It has originally a groove in the middle. This thing is, if you want to have a smaller amount of dubbing in it, I think. I have not yet figured out what this is for, but that's free of choice. It has some screws here for fastening the copper wire or wire. It has a little pin here and has a little pin there, and it has this little to wind it with a little heavy that spins the wire around the dubbing. I'm gonna show you how to make a dubbing brush that can make this kind of fly. I'm gonna show you it easier with the fly in the vise. Okay, first of all, I like to have a wire that's about 0.18 millimeter in thickness. Copper wire, that's easiest to use. Originally you can wind it around this and sew around that, but I found out that just around the pin here will work for me. And take it further on and around, hold it against the hook there and wind it a little so it can lock it down, and take your bobbin with the or your end with the copper wire and hang it out of the side of your table, and take your I take this copper dubbing. I take a scissor, I print out so long I want the fiber to be, and cut it, repeat, cut, repeat, cut, repeat, cut, repeat, cut, and continue till I have enough dubbing to make this brush. I think that's more than enough, and I use my fingers to shove it down in the groove like that. You see now? If you have rough fingers, it will stick on your finger, so you can use a comb or dubbing needle or whatever just to push it down. The finger's okay, it's not so rough yet. I'd been done some carpeting outside, so I was a little unsure. Well, now, to assure that this dubbing will stay inside the groove and stick to the wire, I take some ski wax like that and stroke it on the wire, and I take control of it, wind it up a little bit and lay it on top of the dubbing, and take this end here that I have winded around the peg and lift it over, hold it down and wind this wheel. You see now it's starting to get there, and lift it up a little bit. Make the copper wire spin in your fingers, otherwise it will break at this hook here. Continue and continue till you're satisfied. You can spin it very hard if you want, but I have to use some brush on this afterwards, so this is more than enough for me. And I lift it up, take it off the hook and use my plier, snip it off like that. I will advise you to use the copper on the old bobbin. I think it's easier to work with it that way. Okay, and also use some wax, dubbing wax or ski wax or whatever you have, to stroke on the wire to make the dubbings stay there. Well, now I'm gonna change the angle, but first I'm gonna tell you a little about this. This is a wheel that there is a screw here where I have my bobbin needle shaft that can loosen with the, I'm gonna show you, with this kind of a tool. I think that's Allen key, and you can take this out like this And you see this loose, this wheel come loose like this. It has a hole in the middle. I've used some lubrication on the ends there and in the middle to make this spin more freely, and also I put some lubrication on this side, on that side of the rest of the wheel, of the base. Put it back on and use my Allen key to just tighten it, and it stays there. It spins very freely. Of course you can use some very thin oil to make it spin more freely, but this is okay. This is a product, copper dubbing brush, and now I'm gonna show you how to tie a fly with this brush. I'm gonna put the video on hold and change the angle so I can zoom in and show you. Okay, now we're gonna tie a fly like this. This is a Scandinavian sea trout pattern called copper bassen, kobberbassen in Norwegian, and I use some off-band hooks to make this with a big hook gap. I take this out and put it in like that, and take on my glasses and use my tying thread. I use this fluorescent red. This is from Semperfli. Wind down and take my little dubbing brush, use my pliers and snip off the waist here, so I can start with tying on this on the shank, and stop around there. Just wind it around the hook, take your pre-knit back like that, make some wrappings so much you want, so much you need, and you see some of it will loosen because I've been very careful with spinning too much on this, because I want to comb it out, some of it, and make some wrappings in front here to make a little like a thorax like that. And you helicopter this wire like this, and see it comes up right at the point, and you use your tying thread, make a nice head in fluorescent red like that, and you can use a whip finisher or use your hands like I do now. Why not use your hands? I have 2 of them. So take your scissor, snip off the thread, and the fly is nearly done. You can use your, I use my patin comb to comb out some of the fibers. It's not so dangerous if the thread is showing in between, because this will just make the fish go crazy because they like the fluorescent red. You see now there is very nice solid sea trout fly called the kobberbassen in Norwegian. I don't know if it has any name in English, but if you want to make this fly any more solid, you can have some super glue on the shank here. You can use some like I do some liquid fusion like this. Is so well, this is how I make my copper basin flies with a dubbing brush. You see, now it's just want to show you how to make it and how to use the J-Drivel dubbing block tool. That's all I had, and thank you all for watching, and take care, and bye bye.